Hello everyone, welcome to Math Major Minor. Today we'll be looking on SAT Math complex numbers. Before we get started, we must understand what a complex number is. Now, complex numbers are denoted by the letter I. And I is the square root of -1. So for this video, we will look on the powers of I. So I is I to the power of 1. Now, I squared would be the square root of -1 squared. Now, in indices, the square root will be canceled by the square, which means that I squared would just be -1. Now, what about I cubed? Now, I could write I cubed as I times I squared. Now, we've just established that I squared is -1. So this would be I times -1, which would be -I. What about I to the power of 4? Now, we could write this as I squared times I squared. Now, I squared, as what we've seen above, that's going to be -1 times -1, and a -1 times a -1 is a +1. So we've just seen the first 4 powers of I, and that's what we're going to use throughout this video. Now, here is a little summary of what I just did. So I squared, which is -1, I cubed, that's -I, and I to the 4th power is, of course, 1. Now, let's look at these 4 questions. Powers of I. Now, my objective here is to get a multiple of 4 as my power. Now, I need the closest multiple of 4 to 23. Now, this power, of course, must be less than 23. So the closest multiple of 4 to 23 would be 20. And that's going to be 20 times. Now, I need a number that I would add to 20 to give me 23. Now, that's going to be 3. So based on the laws of indices, 20 plus 3 would be the addition law for indices, and that would give me 23. Now, every power of 4 for complex numbers, that's going to be 1. So basically, I to the power of 20 is 1 times I cubed. And previously, we just found out that I cubed is -I. So that's 1 times -I. And my final answer here would be -I. Now, I to the 2006. Again, we need a multiple of 4 that is close to 2006. All right? So that's going to be 2000 and, you guessed it, 4. Now, we need 2 more to add to 2004 to get 2006. Now, every multiple of 4, that's going to be 1 times I squared. And do you remember what I squared is? That's -1. So that's 1 times -1, which of course is -1. We need a multiple of 4 that is close to 37. Let's use 36. We need 1 more to add to 36 to get 37. Every multiple of 4, that's going to be 1 times just I. So my answer here is just I. Finally, is 828 a multiple of 4? So you could pause the video and decide based on your divisibility rules. And yes, it is. So I to the 828 would be just 1. Okay, guys, so let's try a past paper question. that was on the SAT College Board exam on complex numbers. Now, this question is only on powers of I. Now, let's see what it says. It says if I to the 413 times I to the x is equal to 1, then what is one possible value of x? Now, first of all, let us start by simplifying this I to the 413. Again, we need a multiple of 4 that is close to 413. So let's go along with 412. Now we need one more to add to 412 to get 413. We're multiplying by I to the x, so that's going to be I to the x. Now, the one that's on the right side of my equation, I need to write all of these terms as a base of I. So remember, 1 is I to the power of 4. So I'm going to write this as I to the power of 4. Now, every power of I that is a multiple of 4 is 1. So that's going to be 1 times I to the power of 1 times I to the power of x equals I to the power of 4. Now, based on the laws of indices, I could go and add these two. So what I'm going to have is I to the 1 plus x equals I to the 4. Now, in index equations, if the bases are the same, we can equate the powers. So we could basically just write this as x, 1 plus x equals 4. And of course, x would be 4 minus 1, which of course is 3. So that's going to be our answer right here. Okay, thank you guys for tuning in. This wraps up our video for today. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. This is Math Major Minor.